sheet. That was fast. No. Miss Rosalind, I'm going to let you look to your right. And then I'm going to let you, hang your head in shame a little bit.
Then you look to your left.
I'm going to smile, like usual. Alright, so we're doing outline today, guys. I personally think we're long overdue for this, but...
Oh, that sounds good. That movie?
Okay, what's going on here?
What's going on? What's going on is I'm missing my stick of authority. But that doesn't matter.
You Chris yesterday, remember?
What?
You're going to the Chris yesterday.
Yes, so I did. So,
He said he's not
does everyone
doing
here remember that PowerPoint we went over on paragraph structure?
No.
I'm going to try to
Honestly,
follow.
I don't. Wasn't.
Right, but I sent it to you today. And you
Oh,
went over
okay.
it, right?
We got emails then?
Well, no, Sabrina came in for makeups.
Oh.
Which, by the way, Miss Carol, on break, can I have a minute of your time to schedule makeups? Miss Young. Okay, cool. So I can talk to you like right before break. Yeah, I just gotta get your makeup schedule. So, as you will recall from the very, 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 very brief summary I'm about to give of the. No, it's fine. I'm not gonna kill you for it. You guys can figure out all that stuff. Miss Dominique, is it?
Yeah.
Can you get the door for me, please? I would ask you to draw, a frowny face on the little board on there, but that might send the wrong message. So, the basic precepts of paragraph structure are actually very similar to this brainstorming sheet that I've given you. Does anyone remember some of the things that the PowerPoint talked about at all?
Was it getting the audience involved in what you could speak about?
Right. So the way the PowerPoint phrased it was, you say what you're going to say, right? That's the first sentence. That dictates the flavor and everything you say afterwards. Then you support it with proofs, evidence or corresponding statements, and then you're going to conclude that you've said it. So say what you're going to say, prove it, and then say that's just what I've said to you. So to break that down, again, just so you guys are a little bit, sharper, so when we go into brainstorming it makes more sense, it's going to be, this is a nice word actually. Okay? So if you guys are taking notes, you should probably do it now. I'm going to resend you the paragraph
Oh, that's cool. That's
thesis.
Can I do...
I'm not ready for that. I can't even do an essay.
This is vocabulary.
Oh.
Thesis is an ancient, venerable, and entirely overused word.
Okay.
But, as I said, it has utility. Also, since I'm pretty sure
What
that
is a thesis?
a thesis is like, if someone asks you, what's your thesis? What's the point you're trying to make?
The point you're trying to make.
Right. So, if you want to impress someone, in an everyday conversation, my thesis is just simply this. That Boys to Men is a terrible band, or whatever. Fine. It's your point. What's your the main stab or gist of what you're trying to say? Now, thesis has come to mean a very long and exhaustive. Gist is general point.
General.
Like if I said, God knows, someone throw out a point or a general argument. Because I'm blanking right now in front of the camera.
I don't like writing.
All right, so the point of what you're trying to say is that you're not a big fan of writing
Right.
as a whole. And then you say, it's time consuming, it hurts my wrists.
Right.
Why bother when I can text? We have phone and Skype for this sort of thing. Writing is antiquated and really should be consigned to the dustbin of history. The gist would be writing is not your favorite thing in the world.
Okay, that's the gist. The general
All right.
point.
So that's a general thing. And that's your first sentence. Your first sentence should be consistent with the point you're trying to make. So, for example, you wouldn't start a paper on, why your favorite animal is a dragon by saying why your least favorite animal is a squirrel.
Okay.
Which, by the way, mine totally is.
Okay.
Weasels.
Like you.
Even though I'm teaching right now, but I'll deal with you on break. All right, so those are your points. Okay. So now that you've got your point in your first sentence, you're going to offer support. I guess we could do the period thing.
Come in.
You said
You don't have-
the second sentence is what?
Support.
Support the first sentence?
Hey.
Support your point.
Right. So say I say, for example, that macaroni and cheese is the most foul dish ever concocted by any culinary sadist. I would have to prove it. And my arguments can be wrong, and the arguments can be badly crafted, but they have to be there. You just can't say, because I don't like it. You have to offer proof. Like, you know.
Heart attack on the plate.
What?
Heart attack on the plate.
Yeah, basically. Although they do actually. Don't get me started, man. You know I'm tangential. But okay. So, you know, macaroni is the worst food in the world. It's not. But then you say, you know, it gives you 20% more likelihood to die of a heart attack. Not true, but, you know, you're offering proof. And, you know, it's covered in cheese, which is, we all know, is just filthy or whatever. And that's your second sentence. And you say, and, you know, you go on in that vein, citing your sources. And then you say, okay, in conclusion, clearly this is the most, you know, drawback-filled food ever created by the chefs of Beelzebub himself. Thanks for your time.
No nutrition value at all.
Yeah. So the point is you make your point, you support it, and then you conclude. Okay? And these are all things that come up in paragraph structure and are going to come up in brainstorm. All right? So I actually had a teacher once who said that you can understand a lot by zooming in. And this is why I'm going on about paragraph structure when we're doing outlines and brainstorming today. I'm going to introduce you to a really fun little concept before I actually get into the real meat of brainstorming. And brainstorming is a very simple concept. You guys have already done it before, I just haven't told you you're doing it. But she said there's something very interesting about zooming in. Zooming in on smaller things like a paragraph instead of an essay reveals larger things about the essay. So, let's say paragraph. By the way, that's either the pi symbol or a paragraph. Now it's a paragraph. There we go. Okay. So that whenever you see this in my editing of your work, that means make a paragraph break. But whatever.
Really?
Yeah,
Symbols for
that's
that?
that's writing shorthand for paragraph. Is
Okay.
2 lines with
A T
a
and a
T
P.
and then it's a
Connected.
TP. Yeah.
What does
I have no idea
what
what
does that mean?
that means. Paragraph. So if I put it next to a series of lines, that means you need to hit enter for a new thing.
Equals
Okay.
paragraph.
Right. But anyway, that's writing shorthand for paragraph. So
Okay, well,
by examining a paragraph, you understand more about the structure of an essay. And if we're going to, write, essay.
A T with 2 lines?
A T with 2 lines and a P on it. It's really weird. This came out of the idea of shorthand, which
But
is
there's
where...
no circle around it.
No.
Okay.
No, I'm just saying,
Yeah, just 'cause
if
I
you
wanted to be able
understand
to
how
write it.
paragraph is supposed to be structured, that is point, support, conclusion / transition to the next one, you'll understand how to write an essay.
hold up.
Okay?
Paragraph structure. And that would be point.
And that would be called paragraph structure.
Yeah. Like if you understand what each sentence is supposed to do, it doesn't matter if the sentences are, fallacious or wrong. It just matters that they exist and they fulfill the points of structure. Yes?
Okay, can you say what paragraph structure is again, more?
Okay, so you make your point, right?
Point.
So you start out your sentence with, Rosalind Taylor is my favorite student in this
Okay.
class.
Okay.
She's always on time.
Okay.
She's always polite. She never yells out in class. It's easy to see why she's my favorite student here.
Okay.
Everything I said was just a lie, but it's cool.
I know. What
You know, it made you feel good, so we're good.
And you're cute.
You're good.
So
You're
that's
good.
a lie too.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, but you see what I did, right? I made my point first. I
Right.
supported it. I supported it. I supported it again, and then I wrapped it up saying, This is, and that's why she's my favorite.
No, you wrapped up on it. That's all.
Point.
Detail mongers.
Support.
All right. So you see that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can take any statement and then you say, "This is so. Here's why it's so. Here's something that also says it's so." Keep going. Keep going. By the time you're done, you should be done with your 5 points. Your hand should be occupied. Yeah.
Is there ever a chance, when you say paragraphs should be a minimum of 3 sentences, but is there ever a chance if you have a long sentence that's connected properly, that you can conclude it in that second sentence and it still ends up being a real paragraph?
Oh yeah. I mean, for the sake of this class and for the sake of a uniformity of form, we're going to say all paragraphs are 5 sentences, or at the very least, if I'm letting you get away with murder, 4 sentences. But yes, if you're writing in a particular style, there's no reason why you can't do a paragraph break after two sentences if one is long and the other one is backing it up, because it's not a full paragraph on its own. You see this a lot with fiction and academic writing. But we're doing business writing, which is different. Yeah.
Am I going to be able to, since I wasn't here on Thursday, to give my speech or whatever this is?
Of course.
Okay, good.
All right.
This baby before Miss Rosalind leaves.
Miss Carroll, you missed out on an excellent assignment that you'll have a chance to make up, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I'm so good.
No, I mean during the class, using the new brainstorming sheet. The comparison between what? Is it? Yeah, you better use your brain. You're in my class.
Oh.
Huh.
Oh, yeah.
As if you
My
wouldn't
bad.
use your brain. What are you nervous of people? Yeah, Mr. Kim, what's up?
The total the texture of the paragraph means to write a total explanation of a viewpoint that you wish the other people
To know.
and the teacher to know in
Right.
reference to your knowledge.
Yes, you're writing to an audience every time you write. Even if you're writing for yourself, you're writing to an audience. But yes, you're absolutely right. So, like I said, I've been rather long-winded about getting to the overall point, and I've beaten this structure into your heads, I hope. I mean, if not, then I need to get my hammer. So, you're saying it, support, include. So, if you understand that about your paragraphs, you understand your essay follows the same pattern. Your first paragraph is your intro, which is where you're saying what you're going to say. You're saying, I'm going to say this, I'm going to say this, this, and this. Okay? Then there's your body,
In the body.
which is typically 2 or 3 paragraphs, which is all your support and your points that you mentioned in your first part.
Paragraph. Point is like what's that? The first paragraph. Okay. It's the body and 3 conclusion. How long is the conclusion?
Both the intro and the conclusion are 1 paragraph each.
Okay.
All right? And so, all right, guys, so what does this say?
The body.
Yes. What's the first?
Just 3
sentences,
paragraph.
2 to 3 paragraphs.
Okay.
So 1 paragraph, 2 to 3, 1 paragraph. Does that sound familiar? I mean, without the paragraphs? Here's what I'm saying. Here's my support. That's what I said. Okay? This is a very good method for being absolutely clear and also to avoid misunderstandings. You don't want people to get the wrong idea about your writing, do they? Do you? You want to be clear.
That way they understand exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, the essence of good writing is clarity and economy of words. Poetry and beautiful wordplay come later. Efficiency is the thing I'm hired, and why they pay me the big bucks to teach you, is to write efficiently and clearly. And I'm going to do that. All right? So if you understand your paragraphs, you understand your essay. If you understand your essays, hello. Hey, Harvey, how you doing?
Sorry.
Me? Yeah, sure as that.
This offer is very important business. Do you have a telephone, please?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, I appreciate it, John.
No problem.
Thank you for interrupting your plans.
You got my shoulder?
Thank you.
No problem.
No, don't worry about it.
Oh.
We're real laid back here.
You could do 10 more minutes.
Yeah, nice try. Come on, it's not even 2 o'clock. This is a slow class. Slow.
Oh, my, time sheet.
Important. Yeah. All right. So when you understand essays, you'll be able to understand how to write a good email, how to write business, in a business-like, workman-like fashion. Okay. So that being said, all this comes after the brainstorm, which is the first step. And you guys have actually been doing this without knowing it for a lot of the class. Remember when I just turned you guys loose for a set period of time and say, write about whatever you want, whatever comes to mind? That is the first step of brainstorming. So everyone has a little diagram and this understanding of essay and paragraph structure down pretty well. Like, I can erase it.
Yes.
No one's going to say, no, my diagrams!
I got you recorded.
Oh. Or you, it wasn't twice. Right. So brainstorming is exactly what it sounds like. So, before I go on at length and wear out my vocal cords, anyone here want to tell me what they think brainstorming is? Mr. Saunders, you're not allowed to talk.
Let them rip.
Just the first thing that comes to your mind writing about it.
Okay. You're on the verge of being right. Anyone else?
Options?
What?
Options for your intro?
Yes, options for your general subject. So I'll give you an example of what brainstorming is and brainstorming isn't. Is this board helping? Can anyone see what I'm writing on it, or is it?
I can see.
All right.
I get to maneuver around. I can see how they go like that. So,
Don't remove that. No one's using
that television screen.
Yeah, seriously.
Like a flat screen TV.
Better?
Yes.
Good. Now you can see my pockmarked face all the clearer. All right, so brainstorming, as you guys, edged in on, is the idea of, throwing ideas out there. You ever play 52 Pickup? Oh, come on. You guys have played 52 Pickup. I know you.
You give me a frame
You get
deck
locked
of,
up when we pick
you
me
give me a
up.
frame deck of cards, I'll show you how to pick up.
Okay.
Brainstorming can be seen as the mental equivalent of 52 Pickup, where you just
I
sort
don't
of throw
know
the whole deck of ideas up in the air, and they fall down in random order, and you're like, oh, hadn't thought of that.
That's our Chinese name and grades, I heard.
That's totally not relevant, even a little bit. All right, so say, all right, so brainstorming, typically the format that's used is the one I'm doing on the board, but we have a very specific type we use here at the Sierra Academy, which goes, actually I'm going to grab mine. I'm going to demonstrate the differences between the two styles, but you're supposed to use the one that is on your desk. But for a couple exercises, we're going to be using the board. So the first thing that you want to know is who's your audience. But I would argue, where I'm making this sheet, knowing your subject. Like say, okay, you want to write a 5-paragraph essay just because you're up late one night and you have the nervous fingers and you're like, you know what? I should impress Charlie Allison and write an essay. But what should I write an essay about? Guys, give me a hand here. What do you want? Or what should we talk about brainstorming an essay for? Just
You
throw
wanna
out a
talk
verb or a
about,
noun or whatever.
Don't like writing.
One word, not
want it.
several.
Shoes.
Shoes, fine.
I like shoes.
All right, cool.
Shoes.
Shoes,
We
okay?
all wear shoes.
Great. Fine. Okay. So, shoes are in the big bubble. They're the source of everything else that you can think of. They have to be related to shoes in some way. So you're like, okay, fine. We could go on and name various types of shoes. Clogs, stiletto,
You shop for shoes.
shopping.
Wingtips.
Shopping for shoes.
Yeah, but that would just go under shopping.
You take shoes to the
Big
shoemaker.
mops.
All right. So what else about them? History.
They write the history of shoes.
The red bottoms.
We're not naming types anymore. We will have like this board and like 5
The
others like it
materials.
stretched alongside if we name the type of shoes.
The materials
All right,
of shoes.
material. Okay, construction of them. Fine.
The purpose of shoes.
Construction,
To make
The
women
cost of
fashionable.
shoes.
purpose.
Cost.
There's a purpose why we wear shoes.
That's true.
Shop within cost.
Okay, so what else?
Health reasons,
Purpose.
safety.
Alright, okay, so under purpose?
Well,
Okay.
purpose is safety, and for
Safety.
health reasons is why you wear certain shoes. So that's that's good. That was a good one though. Purpose and health.
Okay, safety, style, construction, leather,
Pleather.
wood.
Shoes are fashion.
Right, we got that.
Okay. Oh, so you gave two examples of two styles of shoes.
Okay, yeah,
The
right.
history
So,
of shoes.
just from this one thing, there's a whole lot of ways you can go with it. You could write a 5-paragraph essay on the history of shoe shopping and the rising price of shoes.
Right.
You know, you could write that.
The
and as long as
demands
you,
on designer shoes.
You done? No? Should I look at my imaginary watch for a few more minutes? Okay, cool. I always hate the imaginary watch turn. Anyway, so look. Just from all this took what, like 2 minutes, not even 3? And you have all these ideas and all these variables that you can go through. You're going to winnow it down a bit. Yeah, Ms.
But
Roslin.
to do a paragraph,
No,
yeah.
this is for, brainstorming is for an essay.
yeah, for essay. Well, okay, well, we're doing essay. We'll do an essay now. How would you? I know, your introduction, the body, and the conclusion, but how would you form it? I mean,
Right. So you pick what you know or what you're interested in or what your assignment is. So if my assignment was write about your favorite thing to shop for, and you say shoes, okay. So we already got shopping up here. So what do I want to talk about in shoe shopping? Heel, whatever.
Price, well, you did cost.
Right, cost. Okay, so you would focus from here to, my 5-paragraph essay on why I love shopping for shoes would be, I love shopping for shoes because it improves my posture and makes me look stylish. Then everything from here would be used to support that point. And you would keep going on these variants like shoe shopping, appeal, cost, favorite brands, etc., etc., etc. And everything is used to build. Remember how I drew that little triangle diagram?
yeah,
Your main point is, I love shoe shopping. And everything else goes back to that focal point.
support it.
Right. Okay?
So what you want us to do right now is just do a thesis with the body, the paragraph, you want to about how long do you
Not yet. I haven't
Not
gotten
yet,
there yet.
please.
Pacing. We're only, 40 minutes in? Easy. Gotta ease into this sort of thing.
okay.
Alright? So, yeah, brainstorming, to use a very, very, very rough analogy, is you throwing out all the ideas that are even vaguely related to your topic. So you can get the bad ones out of the way. And also so you can focus on the good ones. Like, I know some of you have great topics, and when you come up to present, you do it, and then you get sidetracked by something that also just occurred to you. Brainstorming is doing that before you write anything, so it doesn't come up in your finished product, so it's more focused. You see?
Not going into all these different areas.
Yeah, it's meant to cut down on tangential thinking by getting it out of the way first. For the brainstorming sheet that I handed out to you guys, the first thing you want to consider is who's your audience. So in this case, while I am prepping you for the workforce, I am also making you present. So your audience is, in this case, the whole class, and that definition includes, me, the teacher, and Miss Marie when she shows up, and all that sort of thing. Okay, so consider your audience. Like, if Mr. Alex or Miss Roslyn was writing a essay or a short story or whatever, they would write it differently if they were writing for their grandkids or their kids as opposed to us, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm saying y'all. I won't say anything. I want the kids.
Right. So, knowing your audience influences your writing style a great deal. So knowing who you're writing to is a major step. All right? Okay. The second point in the brainstorming sheet is what do you want them to know? And that looks something like what I've done, but in this one they go for a more linear. Everyone here knows how to put bullets in a Word document, right?
Right. Yes.
That's terrible. Give me your guns. But no. Wow. Okay. That's a lot.
Okay,
Wow. That was terrible.
Okay.
I feel terrible now.
We're not supposed to have them here.
Yeah, I know. But this just proves that I should not quit my day job, as it were.
I say the bullet.
So look, the next thing the sheet wants us to do is make a bulleted point, bulleted list, like, okay, shoes, fine. So according to this list, it should look like this.
Oh, you don't want us to put shoes though, is what we want people to know about, do you?
Right, but you put it as the top, so it's just not at random. Give it a title.
That's what this is, we just brainstormed, and this paper is gonna be on what we just discussed, our brainstorming, and it was on shoes.
What I'm doing for the shoes thing is just purely
Example.
I can
an
put
example.
in-
You put whatever you want. You
I can
put,
put in,
you know,
okay, sounds good.
a history of torture in the 15th
What
century
do I
and how it
want
relates to
them
my
to
taste
know?
in wine now. I don't know.
Alright.
Okay, so you know how we did all those little bubble things and just put down everything that we thought might be interesting about shoes? We did the same thing here, 1, 2, 3, 4. I my hand's lazy, I'm not doing that all over again. But it's basically the same thing as the bubble, except for just in this format. After that, you're going to do some editing, and when you decide, like, say I give Mr. Alex an assignment to write to me, something about his, his role as a father, right? And you'd write down, okay, fatherhood on top. It's difficult, it's demanding, it's strangely rewarding in some ways. I didn't think it would, emotionally fulfill me the way it did, but, whatever, I'm putting words in your mouth. But you put all that down, and later you come back and you edit it and you work it into the essay. So the important thing to remember about brainstorming, and before I get any further, is that you're not supposed to edit it. You're not supposed to say, ooh, except for that one time, I'm not going to put that on the list. This is where you put down absolutely everything. This is...
When do you edit?
What? We're getting to that. We're going to do outlines next class.
Oh.
Because that's when you pick your topic and you're like, okay, so I decided to pick, the emotional part of fatherhood is what matters to me the most. So I'm going to write, about that. And make that my focus instead of the logistical difficulties or anything about my children in particular or whatever. But still. Okay, so everyone here has at some point at least, strained water, right, for pasta?
Yes.
Yeah, like, you boiled the water, the pasta's
Oh,
already.
Troy, you must be reading my mind. I put down Italian food. It's
Right,
like
great.
opposite.
So you know how you get the excess water out, but don't dump your pasta down the garbage disposal. You get a sieve. You're good.
You strain it.
Yeah. So the water goes through, the pasta stays. We're not getting that deep into the metaphor. This is a very simple metaphor. Level 1 metaphor. We'll do level 2's 2 classes from now. So look, this is the process of heating everything up, and the straining comes later. We're just putting everything in a pot right now and seeing what happens. Then we strain it with the outline. Yeah, Mr. Kemp.
In other words, if you were writing a cookbook based on the type of foods you wanted to prepare,
Right.
you would just write the full instruction of your knowledge of creating that meal
Right.
without putting any excess information.
Exactly. And then you come back and you edit it and divide it into chapters.
So it's like filming a movie.
Yeah. Actually, that's a very good metaphor. I'll use that from now on.
Yeah.
It is filming a movie in many ways.
Right.
You film everything and you cut out what doesn't work.
Right.
Great. Okay. So that is all a preface to the next step, which you all have probably read by now, which is how do you want them, in this case your audience, to feel? What emotions do you want your letter or speech to evoke? Okay? So you've gone from what do I want them to know to how do I want them to feel about this newfound knowledge. Okay? So while there are some ways to make this really tricky, it's really simple. and that comes down to word choice. What is it? Subject matter. You know, it's hard to write a happy paper about genocide, for example, unless you have a really, really bad case of sociopathy. Okay, so audience reaction. How do you want, the way I do this, if I'm writing an essay or I'm writing a letter, is if I got this in the mail or I got this delivered to my door or someone handed this to me and I didn't know me and I was just reading it and had to judge me based on my writing, how would I feel about it? And if I get the emotions that I set out to put into the paper from it, I feel like I've done a good job. Make any sense? You guys getting me? You guys are suspiciously silent. You guys are silent when I'm doing too much too fast. Am I doing too much too fast, guys?
You're doing
No, go ahead, we're just
recording.
brainstorming,
Here's a
They're
prime
listening
example
to you.
of what Charlie is saying.
We're listening to you.
I like reading books,
Right.
right? So here's a book that I'm reading on a superstar that I have loved since I was a kid. I was a boy when I found out about Aretha Franklin. So if I had to write some information about this book, after reading it, I would write the major points about her life as a recording artist and why I enjoyed her music from the time I was a young boy all the way up through adulthood and even right now. I would only write the subject in reference to this book, not 10 and 15 different other things.
Quite right. And how would you want me to feel after I finish reading it?
I want you to feel very proud of the way it was written, the words in the vocabulary, the way they were chosen, and the way they were presented to you.
Right. So you want me to feel pride in the subject you've written on. So you
Yes.
use a more lionizing stuff. Okay, I get you. Cool. Excellent demonstration.
But wouldn't you also want your reader to want to enjoy Aretha Franklin's music the way that you did by putting out all that positive about her? You would want them to be interested enough to go read the book.
You should be a teacher.
In other words,
Not just what,
We're all students of that.
right,
But she's good.
She's very good. Yes.
Yeah, you wanna
So
say something?
part of Kenneth's objective is to capture how big a part Aretha Franklin was in his life,
Right.
and instill that excitement and enthusiasm
Right.
to you. And you're like, damn, you know, I mean, okay, I listen to something sometimes, but now I'm actually curious. He's got my curiosity, people. So you have to lend something of your enthusiasm, or in certain acceptable cases, your anger or curiosity, whatever, to what you write. Writing is an emotional thing, and despite what Miss Marie and I say, writing is thinking. Writing is also, and this is extremely important. God dang, I couldn't write a T. Writing is feeling too. And I feel like that part is devalued a bit. Because it is a very technical art, it is a very demanding art, it is at times a very painful art, but it's a necessary art. Because without it, you know, we're not terribly much, I would argue. But writing is thinking, that is absolutely true, but writing is feeling too. Because the ultimate goal of all writing, alongside transmitting information, is transmitting feelings and trying to persuade you to feel a certain way. Yes, Ms.
I
Taliaferro.
would do that in the way that you streamline the information that you offer to them to use as a basis to make their decision. So if you want them to feel the way that you did in the process of giving out the information that you enjoyed from the book, you would only give the specifics, and that's the basis, that's all they have to pick from.
Right.
Now you can look at documentaries on the news, and you can use 2 or 3 different stations' documentary about the same point, and it might not seem like they're talking about the same thing because
Right.
somebody different wrote it.
Exactly.
You know, you see a documentary. I saw a documentary about Lou Rawls about his life. Now, all through our years, you know Lou Rawls was a good guy, had a nice voice, sang all these songs, blah, 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 blah. But this documentary was deep into his personal life. Found out that he was a wife beater, he beat his wives, he just tore them up. It was terrible. But you didn't know that. You know, and it changed your opinion of the man quite a bit. You didn't have the opportunity to say, well, he was just the most fantastic singer in the world, because they gave you more information to work from.
Right.
But if they didn't give you that, then all you would know is what they shared with you.
True. At any rate, the point is, yes, it's going to influence how you feel about Lou Rawls, right? Yeah, so that's the point of the documentary, is to influence your feelings. And the point of any writing or any information transferred from one person to another, and this is simplistic, but it's true to a large degree, is you're trying to convince them to feel a certain way. Even just, average everyday conversations, between, say, me and Mr. West, me and Miss Alberg, me and the indomitable Mr. Saunders, who's not paying attention because he's not in this class. See, he didn't even flinch. Nuts.
A good writer masters the art of manipulation.
Well, actually, I did my thesis on this. Communication is manipulation. If you're giving someone information, you want them to feel the way you're feeling, or feel in a way that you can take advantage of. And that's just the human nature. It's a human condition. It's not, anything to be ashamed of. But some people do it better than others, and for better or worse reasons. Anyway, not the point. I'm not going to get into it. But the idea is, when I'm done reading your work, you better have tried to lead me by the nose to feel a certain way. And it comes down to word choice. It comes down to the order you present your points, how you phrase your points. For example, two very different phrases have different reactions. Like if I tried to tell you about the time my dear old granddad caught my uncle's lighting matches in very dry South California, in response, and I could tell this very humorously, he bought them both a pack of matches and had them light them one by one and let them burn down to the fingers and go through it that way. And I could say, because of that, our house didn't burn down and they never played with matches again.
Right.
That's mildly humorous. If I use word choices like, in infinite jest as he did that, I could make it funny. I can't make it funny talking to you guys, but if you give me 15 minutes on a laptop, no problem, I can have you busting your gut laughing. Or I could present it as, my grandfather was a very harsh man, but he was fair with his harshness and always made the punishment fit the crime. I'm presenting the same thing, different ways, different word choice. All this matters. If I want you guys to laugh, I'll tell it the first way. If I want to impress upon you that, I'm the same as my grandpa when it comes to writing style, or overall outlook on the world, I'll use the second style. And that's a very simplistic analysis of the situation. There's a million ways you can go with any given topic, and it's great. And it's also, I'm convinced, why Miss Rosalind hates writing. It's because there's no one easy, simple way to do it that works every single time. You have to tailor each bit of writing to the occasion. You wouldn't give a eulogy at a wedding, for example.
No.
It's knowing your audience, knowing yourself, knowing what'll work, knowing what won't work, and knowing word choice. We're going to come back to word choice. Word choice matters. But not right now. God, I've been going for a while.
You doing good?
We'll see. I'll know if I'm doing good if you guys impress me with your writing later on in this class. All right, you guys are the crucible of my skill and rhetorical ability. And my ability as a teacher is reflected directly in you. Yeah.
My last paper I presented, I think I improved greatly, and it's only because of you.
Indeed. We'll get into that. So we're on the
Not
last
today.
one. We're on number 4, which is what do I want you to do about it? Okay? Now, the transmission of information is literally the oldest thing the human race does besides procreation. We're always giving information to each other. And we never give information that's useless. Unless we're MTV. In which case, yeah, okay, fine, we're useless. So, in business writing, what I'm going to be training you guys to do is always end on a call for action. Like if you're writing a cover letter, you always end with, if you have any questions, give me a call at 1-800, I totally am hireable, something, whatever. You always end with, and do this. Okay? A call to action. But you're also summarizing all the points you've made. So this also enables skimming. Anyone want to guess how that last point, if you read the number 4, enables skimming? It doesn't work for books, but it does work for emails, memos, and essays. And I'll tell you why. A book is something that's very different from all those things. A book has plot structure, a narrative arc, and an investment in a character, or at least fiction does. But in essays, memos, emails, letters, for the most part, you sum up everything you've said in that last paragraph. Like in this paragraph, in this essay, I have demonstrated that macaroni is the foulest concoction known to man. It's going to kill you in nothing flat. The systems used to produce it are corrupt and ultimately harmful to a harmonious society. And on top of all that, it tastes like a dog's, behind. Okay? And that's what I'm here to say. Please boycott macaroni. If you're thinking about having it, try something else like, a Big Mac, whatever. Okay? That's your end. There's a call to action, don't do this. The reason it's structured that way is because time is valuable, and more people than I would like to admit skim to the end and read the last paragraph to see what your overall point is. They read your first paragraph, they read your last paragraph. So those have to be especially strong. Alright? I know none of you will disappoint me in this regard about making your intro and conclusions strong. This is just brainstorming. Brainstorming follows this very simple little guideline. What is it? I'll go over this one more time. Who's your audience? What do I want them to know? How do I want them to feel? And then what are they going to do about it? Okay? Easy enough? Anyone intimidated? Because if not, I can put on my intimidation mask and dance around very silly there. Because that might relieve some of the pain in my throat. I just don't have the face for it, Miss Ann. Tried and tried and tried, but I can't get the intimidation face down. I always end up looking like a goofball. Alright, so everyone gets this? This is pretty simple? Yeah. Alright, cool. So, good? All right, cool.
So it should be some information kind of short, but it should be about a certain subject that you're trying to express.
Right.
But like you say, writing is an art, so you have to put the information on paper.
Yep.
But it has to seem like you're actually communicating with the person or a wide stream audience all at the same time.
Well said.
To get your view across.
Yep. Clearly, concisely knowing your audience. I haven't given you an assignment yet. This is a basic review of the process of brainstorming. Are you really so eager for an assignment? I thought you... Oh, all right. So, let's take a vote. Who here wants an assignment before break? Thank you. Not while I'm on duty.
Before break, but not doing forever.
Oh yeah, obviously. Come on, what am I, a jerk? Alright, so, who here feels like me giving you an assignment before break starts and you finish it up sometime after break? Raise your hands.
That sounds great.
Alright, we got 4.
I can go with that.
Heavily outnumbered. 5. Mr. West, man, you're... Oh, man. Now I have to come up with something on the fly. I mean, I planned this whole thing. Alright, so I'm actually going to hand out extra brainstorming sheets because I know with this format I always make a whole bunch of mistakes. So
You want us to write it all on here, not on here?
No, I'm giving you extras so you can write it on there.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I wrote everything that I needed to write on here, but you want us to... Okay.
Hold on.
Alright, you want us to, I see what, you just want us to continue.
Alright, right now I haven't assigned anything besides giving you extra sheets so you can write it down. This is a couple of practice exercises.
Okay, this is great.
And we're not going to write anything yet, we're just going to do the brainstorming, and then we're going to present our brainstorming up in front like the normal way. Okay? So, alright, take another vote. Do you guys want to choose your own topic, or should I assign you something so there's uniformity?
I don't see the point.
uniformity, so we can see
No,
how
see,
we
this is gonna be a
brainstorm.
longer segment. This is gonna be like similar to the 30-second commercial. My audience is, people my grandma's age. My subject is, daytime TV. My audience is people who watch daytime TV, people who are really on work, right? I want them to know that it's, X, Y, or Z, right? So this is very similar to the 30-second. Alright, great. So,
While you were talking, I was thinking of.
right.
Right now, so I know what right now.
Got it? Cool. So here's the deal. We got about 15 minutes, and I'm going to clear a couple things up really quickly.
Myself, I don't want it to just be all about me.
No, so
Anything
write
I
down
write, I don't want it to just appeal to me. I want,
Right.
when I write, I like for it to appeal to all.
Right, but you also have to remember that when you care about something, like say you asked me to write about tricks or archetypes in medieval bestiaries, or whatever. So basically folk tales. If you ask me to tell you about folk tales, I'll talk your ear off and we won't be out of here till 7. And that passion, even if you don't give a damn about folk tales, that passion, that energy, does attract people. It does make them want to listen to you. Because you're so clearly enjoying yourself. If you're clearly enjoying yourself, a lot of times, against their will, they'll start to listen and actually be captivated. It's called in speaking charisma, or give me some synonyms. Charisma, charm. Come on, guys, vocabulary. Charisma, charm, magnetism. Savvy, kind of.
Excellent personality.
All right, force of will, personality. You get that. So picking something that you really care about really influences your presentation of it. Like, if you ask me to write about, the merchant marines in the 1800s, I'm like, I know nothing about that. I suppose they were merchants and marines. I guess that's weirdly helpful. No one cares about what I'm saying because I'm not investing. Right? Yeah, you don't need to tell me. Look at the door, but no big deal. Guys, general announcement. If you have to go to the bathroom, you don't need to tell me. Just there's the door. Do your stuff.
Are we on break?
No!
I didn't think so. It's
All
kind
right.
of early. Too early for me to go on break.
Never too early in this Brody. So, one thing I'm going to clarify real
Then I go
quick.
back too early.
On top, you're going to write, and there should have been a column for this. I'll fix it next time I make these. You're going to write your subject, okay? Subject, then who your audience is. And while your audience, obviously, when you're coming up here to present it, is the class, also act like there's the class and someone else. Like, if you're telling childhood stories, like, the subject is that time I stole the ice cream truck when I was little. Your audience is, the class and a couple of my friends from my childhood who I want to reminisce with. And so I want them to know that I did X, Y, and Z, and then the police were called, and it was very hilarious, and all that sort of thing. Okay, you give a whole bunch of things, like everything you can think of related to the incident or subject at hand. So it's not organized. This is not systematic. The point of this is to be disorganized so you can become organized. All right? So you wouldn't even summarize it. You would say, this is your place to be tangential. Okay? Within a reasonable limit. Then you go down and you say, I want them to feel, like, oh, right, and I want them to feel nostalgic, I want them to feel happy, I want them to feel maybe a little embarrassed. List 3 things under how you want them to feel. That's my rule of 3. Give them 3 emotions that you want your audience to feel. And then what do you want them to do about it? I want them to keep remembering my childhood with me. I want them to, treasure their own children's formative years, whatever. So everyone's getting what I expect? No misunderstandings. If you do have misunderstandings, great. I'd be glad to dissolve them for you. Like acid. Okay? We're all cool?
Yes.
Excellent.
So, we still haven't finalized our subject.
The subject is up to you for this one.